bookshelf, claiming it looked cluttered. I stood there, stunned, as she rearranged our carefully curated collection of novels and keepsakes. The intrusion was the final straw. Michael and I knew we had to set boundaries, but we also wanted to maintain the fragile peace we had achieved with his parents. That evening, over a quiet dinner, we discussed how to address the situation without causing a rift. The next day, we invited Mrs. Davis over for a calm, honest conversation. Sitting at our small dining table, I took a deep breath and began, "Mrs. Davis, we truly appreciate your support and the love you show us, but we need to establish some ground rules for our home." Michael nodded, adding, "Mom, we love having you visit, but dropping by unannounced or rearranging our things makes it hard for us to feel like this is our space." Mrs. Davis looked taken aback, her lips pursing slightly, but she listened. After a moment, she sighed, "I suppose I've been overstepping. I just want to help you two start your life together properly." We assured her that her intentions were valued, but we needed space to build our life on our terms. To our surprise, she agreed to respect our wishes, promising to call before visiting and to refrain from unsolicited advice. It wasn't a perfect resolution. There were still occasional tensions, but it marked a turning point. Michael and I grew closer, learning to navigate the complexities of family dynamics while cherishing our independence. Our cozy apartment became a true sanctuary, filled with love, laughter, and the freedom to be ourselves. Over time, even Mrs. Davis began to see us not just as her son and his partner, but as a couple forging their own path, one step at a time. Doorstep, their expressions a mix of determination and unease. "We thought we'd surprise you," Mrs. Davis said, her voice attempting cheerfulness, but betraying a hint of nervousness. Mr. Davis stood silently beside her, his gaze fixed on Michael, as if awaiting his reaction. My stomach churned. After months of peace in our new home, the past had found us. I forced a polite smile, gripping the edge of the door. "Mrs. Davis, Mr. Davis, this is unexpected. What brings you here?" Michael, standing beside me, looked as stunned as I felt, his hand tightening around mine. Mrs. Davis stepped forward, her suitcase rolling behind her. "We wanted to see your new place, and, well, we thought we could stay for a bit. Families should stick together, shouldn't they?" Her words hung in the air, heavy with expectation. The memory of our hard-won boundaries flooded back, the unannounced visits, the unsolicited advice, the suffocating sense of being watched. I glanced at Michael, his face a mixture of guilt and resolve, and knew we had to act quickly to protect the sanctuary we'd built. "Please come in for a moment," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. "But we need to talk." We ushered them into the living room, where sunlight streamed through large windows, illuminating the cozy space we'd made our own. As they sat on the sofa, their suitcases parked awkwardly by the door, I took a deep breath, determined to set the tone. "We're happy to see you," I began, choosing my words carefully, but we weren't expecting visitors, especially not for an extended stay. "We've worked hard to create a life here that's ours, and we need to maintain that." Mrs. Davis's eyes widened, a flicker of hurt crossing her face. "We're not here to intrude," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "We just missed you, Michael. And you too, Lizzie. After everything, we thought this could be a chance to reconnect." Mr. Davis nodded, his stern demeanor softening. "We drove all this way. We didn't mean to upset you." Michael, who had been quiet, finally spoke, his tone gentle but firm. "Mom, Dad, I love you, but we've been through this. Our home is our space, and unannounced visits, especially with suitcases, make it feel like we're losing that. We want you in our lives, but it has to be on terms that work for everyone." His words were measured, a testament to the growth we'd both undergone since moving away. The room fell silent, the weight of our words settling over us. Mrs. Davis dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, her shoulders slumping. "I suppose we didn't think this through," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "We just wanted to be close to you again." Mr. Davis reached for her hand, his expression softening further. "Maybe we've been too pushy." We'll respect your space. I felt a pang of empathy, recognizing their desire to mend the distance between us. We'd love for you to visit, I said, softening my tone. But let's plan it together. Maybe a weekend soon, where we can spend time as a family without overwhelming anyone. Michael nodded in agreement, adding, "And we'll come visit you too. It's not about cutting ties. It's about finding balance." After some discussion, they agreed to stay at a nearby hotel for the night and return home the next day, promising to call ahead for future visits. As they left, suitcases in tow, I felt a mix of relief and cautious optimism. The encounter had been a test, but we'd held our ground while leaving the door open for a healthier relationship. In the weeks that followed, the quiet of our new home returned, punctuated only by the sounds of birdsong and our own laughter. Michael's parents kept their word, calling to arrange a visit a month later. When they arrived, it was different. There was mutual respect, shared stories, and no lingering tension. Our new home remained our haven, a place where we could grow, love, and build memories free from the weight of expectation. And as we sat together one evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, Michael squeezed my hand.
"We
"Did it, Lizzie," he said, his voice filled with quiet pride. "This is our life, and it's exactly what we wanted." I smiled, leaning into him, the warmth of his presence grounding me. "It is," I replied, "and it's only the beginning." The sight of Michael's parents standing on our doorstep, suitcases in hand, sent a jolt through me. "Mom, Dad, what are you doing here?" Michael asked, his voice laced with astonishment. Mrs. Davis's smile was overly sweet, masking an undercurrent of determination. "We missed you, dear, and thought, why not pay a visit?" she said, her tone almost too cheerful. I struggled to maintain my composure, my heart racing. "It's unexpected," I managed, my voice tight. Mr. Davis stepped forward, his expression earnest. "We just wanted to see where our son's living now." "Is that so wrong?" Michael's face betrayed his conflict, torn between loyalty and frustration. "Of course not," he said, "but a heads-up would have been nice." Mrs. Davis's gaze swept over our home, her eyes gleaming with appraisal. "Oh, what a lovely place you have here. Much nicer than the old one," she remarked, her words carrying a subtle jab. I bristled but held my tongue, unwilling to escalate the moment. What began as a surprise visit stretched into an unwelcome stay. One night turned into 2, then 3, and soon they were settling in, their presence eerily reminiscent of the intrusions we'd fled in our old apartment. They moved through our home with a familiarity that felt invasive, rearranging small items and offering unsolicited suggestions. One evening, after a dinner marked by their casual critiques of our cooking, I pulled Michael aside in the kitchen, my voice low but urgent. "Michael, we can't go down this road again. We moved here to escape this." He sighed, his shoulders slumping under the weight of the situation. "I know, Lizzie, but they're my parents. I can't just throw them out." My frustration flared. "Then what? Let them take over our lives again." Before he could respond, Mrs. Davis appeared in the doorway, her eyes brimming with tears, having overheard us. "Is that how you feel, Michael? That we're a burden?" she asked, her voice trembling. Michael looked helplessly between us, caught in the crossfire. "Mom, it's not like that. We just wish you'd told us you were coming." She sniffled, clutching a dish towel. "We just wanted to be close to our son, but it seems we're not welcome here either." Her words were a calculated blend of hurt and accusation, and I felt a sinking dread as the conversation took a familiar turn. That dread deepened days later when Mr. and Mrs. Davis dropped a bombshell. Over coffee in our living room, Mr. Davis cleared his throat, his tone grave. "Lizzie, Michael, we have some news." Michael shifted uneasily, sensing the gravity of the moment. "Go on," he prompted. Mrs. Davis, forcing a cheerful smile, announced, "We've sold our house. We realize there's no need for it when we have such a lovely family home here with you too." My eyes widened in shock. "You did what?" I asked, my voice barely concealing my alarm. Mr. Davis leaned forward, his expression sincere. "We wanted to be closer to you both. It's only natural." Mrs. Davis's face clouded with hurt as she added, "We're family. Why wouldn't you want us here?" The implication was clear. They intended to move in permanently. My heart pounded as I realized the delicate issue we'd been privately grappling with was now being forced into the open. Summoning my resolve, I took a deep breath and spoke the truth I'd long held back. "This house is mine," I said firmly. "It's not owned jointly by Michael and me. It's in my name alone." I retrieved a file from the study, presenting the ownership documents. Mrs. Davis's eyes scanned the papers, her face registering disbelief. "But you're married," she stammered. "What's yours is Michael's, and vice versa." I met her gaze, a triumphant edge to my voice. "That's where you're mistaken. We held a wedding ceremony, yes, but Michael and I never legally married. We never signed any official documents. So, technically, you're not my in-laws." The room seemed to freeze, my words hanging like a storm cloud. Mrs. Davis's face paled, her eyes widening in shock, while Mr. Davis's jaw tightened, his gaze darting to Michael for confirmation. Michael took my hand, his grip steady, signaling his unwavering support. "It's true, Mom, Dad," he said calmly. "We thought you'd be more accepting if we had a ceremony, but we never felt the need to involve the state in our relationship." Mrs. Davis's composure crumbled, tears spilling down her cheeks. "So you deceived us," she sobbed, "and now you're throwing us out?" The tension escalated as shock gave way to outrage. Mrs. Davis's voice dripped with venom. "You tricked everyone with a sham wedding and think that makes everything all right?" Michael sighed, his patience strained. "It wasn't about tricking anyone. It was about living our lives the way we wanted. The ceremony was for us, and those who wanted to celebrate our love." Her face flushed with anger. "You dare defy the sanctity of marriage, live together in sin, and then mock us with a fake wedding? I've had enough." Mr. Davis stood abruptly, his voice booming. "You, young lady, are nothing but a sinner and a witch, trying to pull my son away from his family, his values." His words struck like a blow, but I refused to be cowed. "I haven't taken Michael from anyone," I retorted, my voice steady. "He's made his own choices, and it's high time you respect them." Mrs. Davis's tears flowed freely, but her tone was icy. "Michael, come home with us. Leave this woman. She's done nothing but weave a web of deceit." Michael, ever the calm amidst the storm, responded with quiet strength. "Mom, Dad, I love you, but my place is here with Lizzie. She's been kind and understanding, even when you haven't. You can't demand I leave her. You're choosing her over us?" Mr. Davis's voice trembled with fury and disbelief. Michael's response was unwavering. "I'm choosing to live my life on my terms." The silence that followed was suffocating, each breath heavy with unspoken pain. Mrs. Davis's face was a mask of betrayal, her voice cold as steel. "Very well," she said. "But remember this. You're turning your back on your family, on your faith, all for her." "I'm not turning my back on anyone," Michael said, his voice tinged with sadness. "I just wish you'd see that." Mrs. Davis's eyes hardened, her words bitter. "Let's go," she said to her husband, not sparing us another glance. They gathered their belongings and left, the door closing with a finality that echoed through the house, leaving a wake of hurt, confusion, and uncertainty. Michael and I stood in the quiet, our emotions mirrored in each other's eyes. We knew this confrontation had changed everything, a fracture that might never fully heal. Days later, as I returned from work, our neighbor Mrs. Carlson, an older woman with a knack for local gossip, flagged me down. "Did you hear about the Davis family not selling their house?" she asked, her eyes gleaming with intrigue. I paused, caught off guard. "What do you mean?" She leaned closer, her voice conspiratorial. "They never put their house on the market. I heard from Susan, who heard from Janice at the real estate office. There's no record of their property being up for sale." A knot formed in my stomach as the implications sank in. Had they lied to us? When I shared the news with Michael, his face darkened with shock. I can't believe they deceive us like that, he said, his voice heavy. What were they trying to achieve? The answer was painfully clear. They'd fabricated the story to manipulate us, to guilt us into letting them integrate into our lives. The betrayal stung, unraveling the fragile trust we'd tried to maintain. This changes everything, Michael said, rubbing his temples. Disagreements are one thing, but outright deception? That's unacceptable. I nodded, my resolve hardening. We can't keep letting them pull us into their games. We need boundaries, strong ones. The next day, Michael visited his parents' home, determined to confront them. When he returned, his expression was a mix of anger and sorrow. They admitted it, he said, his voice thick with emotion. They thought if they moved in, we'd be a proper family again. They felt threatened by our independence. The revelation was a bitter pill, but it clarified our path forward. We sat down that evening, mapping out our next steps. For the sake of our sanity and the health of our relationship, we needed distance, a clean break from the drama and manipulation. We need time away from them, Michael declared, his voice resolute. A chance to focus on us. I agreed, feeling the weight of the decision but also its necessity. It's the best thing for our future. That night, we sent a message to his parents, calmly but firmly outlining our need for space. Their response was predictably heated, filled with accusations and guilt trips, but we stood our ground, knowing this was about protecting our peace. The weeks that followed were a balm to our weary hearts. Our home, once a battleground for boundaries, became a true sanctuary again. We poured our energy into each other, rebuilding the trust and closeness that had been strained by months of conflict. One evening, as we sat on our porch, the sky ablaze with stars, Michael turned to me, his eyes soft with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, "for standing by me, for fighting for us." I smiled, squeezing his hand, the warmth of his touch grounding me. "Always," I said, my voice steady with conviction. The journey had been arduous, marked by painful confrontations and difficult choices, but it had taught us the vital importance of boundaries, honesty, and mutual respect. As the night deepened, we gazed at the horizon, hopeful for a future filled with peace, love, and the freedom to live on our own terms. Please feel free to comment below if you like this. Remember to like and subscribe for more.